Videos has become a quick way to share information. Whether you are creating an inspiring video to motivate your audience, or sharing educational content like I'm doing on this course, or even if it's just to have some promotional content for your business. At some point, it's important for you to learn how to deliver your message on camera. So in this lecture, I'll take you through what you should be bearing in mind when you put your first video content together. Number one, it's about objective and timing. You first need to know the purpose of your video. Will it be for promotional purposes? Will it be a motivational video? Or will you be doing some sort of educational training? Then it's important for you to script your content in a way that takes out the most important pertinent points that you'd like to share with your audience. Tailor the content for your audience. Think about who you are targeting and how to structure your message, the wording, and the type of examples that you use that's going to be best suited for that type of audience. The more general your audience is going to be, the more simpler and easier your examples will be and the words and the language that you'll use. Still with objective and timing. The attention span for your audience is very limited. So when you are putting a script together, put a script together that's going to last between 6 to 8 minutes. Within that 6 to 8 minutes, create some distractions through visual effects, graphics, writing, showing some pictures, because that will keep your audience engaged fully for that 6 to 8 minutes. Number two, let's look at you as a speaker. It can be very difficult to do a video recording when you haven't got a live audience. All you have are flashlights in your face and a few cameras in front of you. So it's very important for you to put yourself in a mode where you are imagining an audience in front of you. When you look at that camera, imagine that there are people behind that camera. Some of the techniques that you can do is, number one, imagine a person seated behind that camera that you are speaking to specifically. Number two, when you are speaking, use more you statements so it sounds something like, what would you do in this situation? Versus, what would most people have done? When you speak to you, it's as if you are speaking to the person who is actually watching the video at that time. As a speaker, the last thing that you should be considering here is what type of shot do you want with this? Is it going to be a headshot? Is it going to be a full body? Is it a half body video angle? And it's important to understand the impact of that and how your audience is going to receive the information. There are no rules to what you finally decide, as long as whatever you are choosing makes sense for the content that you are delivering. Number three, it's about video credibility. When a person watches you speak, they might know you, most likely they heard of you, or randomly they came across your video. And so it's important for you to dress a certain part that's in line with what you are speaking about. So if it's a professional video, dress in a way that's in line with the content that you are speaking. If, as an example, you are speaking about something dealing with science, having a lab coat on adds a little bit more credibility to you speaking about something dealing with science. If you are speaking about specific educational content, there's nothing wrong with having a library of books behind you as a backdrop to your content. Or if you are speaking about, say, something dealing with your own country, by having, say, flags on your table or behind you also gives a certain positioning for what you are saying. Be aware of your clothing. So in an earlier section, I covered the content on what to wear and what not to wear. And especially for speaking on camera, this applies here. So wear clothes that sort of one color, no stripes, no distracting colors, no contrasting colors, and definitely consider your accessories. So avoid any loud jewelry or anything that's too flashy that's going to take away your presence as a speaker. Here is some inspirational advice. 5 tips to help you with your next speaking on camera video or your first speaking on camera video. Number 1 is sound, lighting, and equipment. Hire a professional videographer that's going to help you with professional sound, professional lighting, because it makes a very big difference in terms of how your audience will see this video. Number 2 is energy. Energy is very transferable. So as you speak, bring in the energy in your voice, bring in the energy in your facial expressions. 3, there's nothing wrong with you recording in small segments. Be okay with making mistakes. It's not about perfection, it's just about starting. That's why camera is so awesome. You can pick up where you left off. That's what editing is for. You piece a whole lot of good parts together to make one whole part. And by the way, that's how people come across and bring across great movies. It's not one perfect sequence. It's a lot of small, separate, perfect sequences that is brought together in the editing mode. So I'm saying, when you are speaking on camera, breathe and be okay with making mistakes, because there's lots that will happen along the way. Number 4 is rehearsal. To make the most of your video recording, the day before, practice, prepare, rehearse. Know in your mind what is that key message that you are delivering, and have some sort of mechanism that you're going to remember the content. And it depends. There's a lot of techniques that's out there. If you have the budget for it, a teleprompter does help you remember what it is that you're saying, although you don't want to be coming across as overly rehearsed, where it's obvious that you are reading off a script. Be as natural as possible. Number 2, if you could remember the key points, and like I said, the key point is what you do in one frame, and with the editing you put a whole lot of good key points together. My last point is just get started. Get the camera person, get your videographer together, and put your first video together, and you will not regret that decision. That concludes this lecture. Let's move on to our next lecture, where I teach you about some specialty speeches and how to take your speech and bring it down to a certain sizing. And we'll start off with a Pachachka speech. I'll see you on the next lecture.